you through 4 p.m. There's plenty to talk about as we start off a brand new week. So let's go over some of the things that we're expecting in this first hour that we have here together. We have so many regular viewers who love our space chats around here. So we have called in the European Space Agency today to talk about new images of 3i Atlas. I know you all are going to love that conversation. Also, the Lawndale Christian Development Corporation has just been named an awardee for a massive grant to build a first of its kind indoor sports and community complex on the west side here in Chicago. So I'm looking forward to speaking to their executive director very soon. And the Ford CEO, Jim Farley, and his wife recently gifted the Pope a new Explorer SUV. Of course, it had to have a Chicago connection, be it that he's from our area. It was assembled at the Ford Chicago assembly plant. So I have a couple of the managers at the plant who are going to be joining me as well very soon. So I'm looking forward to all of those conversations. They're coming your way very soon. Let's go ahead and look at a few things. One, can we just give a moment to take a look outside here in the city? It is beautiful today. Oh, look at the view. Over Navy Pier, water is blue, the sky is blue, the temperature is working in our favor today. So it's definitely a marquee day for the new week. And unfortunately, things might go downhill a bit as the week goes on. So savor it today. Make sure you get a little time outside today to soak up some sun. We might not have it by the end of the week going into the weekend. And we know there are a ton of events coming up this weekend for the St. Patrick's Day festivities. Enjoy today, and we'll let you know how things are going from here a little bit later on in the show. Another thing that we're monitoring right now, they are getting ready in New York to have a press conference. Should be starting any minute here. Has started right now. They are expected to be unsealing a federal complaint charging 2 young men with attempting to provide material support to ISIS and use a weapon of mass destruction in connection with the explosive devices detonated near the home of the New York City mayor. Let's listen in.
In the complaint, the defendants were inspired by ISIS to carry out their attack. There should be no confusion about what ISIS constitutes. It is a designated foreign terrorist organization responsible for deadly terrorist attacks across the globe and has taken credit for mass casualty attacks in Europe, the Middle East, and right here in the United States. And as alleged, both defendants have admitted that they acted on Saturday because of ISIS. As Qayyumi was being placed into an NYPD vehicle following his arrest, a person in the crowd asked why he had done this. As shown on NYPD body-worn camera footage referenced in the complaint, Qayyumi responded with ISIS. And at the precinct, after being advised of his Miranda rights and waiving those rights, Qayyumi said in recorded post-arrest statements that he had watched ISIS propaganda on his phone and that his actions that day were partly inspired by ISIS. The complaint also details statements made by Amir Balat after his arrest. En route to the NYPD precinct, Balat made spontaneous statements without being questioned by NYPD officers that were captured on body-worn camera footage. He said, "This isn't a religion that just stands when people talk about the blessed name of the prophet. We take action, as well as, if I didn't do it, someone else will come and do it." And later, after waiving his rights, he requested paper and wrote a message declaring in part, "I pledge my allegiance to the Islamic State. Die in your rage, you kuffar." Now, die in your rage is a commonly known ISIS slogan, and kuffar is an Arabic term that refers to non-believers. He also told investigators that he had hoped to carry out an attack even bigger than the Boston Marathon bombing, which he noted resulted in only 3 deaths. These statements, as set forth in the complaint, make clear that this was not random violence. This was a planned attack motivated by extremist ideology and inspired by a violent foreign terrorist organization. The complaint alleges not only why the defendants acted, but how. Preliminary testing has determined that one of the devices contained triacetone triperoxide, or TATP, also commonly referred to as Mother of Satan, a highly volatile explosive that has been used in multiple terrorist attacks over the last decade. As we have previously discussed, the NYPD identified a vehicle yesterday on East End Avenue that was linked to the defendants. Inside that vehicle, investigators recovered handwritten notes referencing TATP explosive and listing chemical ingredients for the type of explosive device used by the defendants on Saturday. Make no mistake, what happened this weekend was incredibly dangerous, and the ongoing investigation will be exhaustive. From the first moments of that investigation, the NYPD has been working seamlessly with our federal partners, many of whom have joined us here. In particular, the FBI's Joint Terrorism Task Force, which includes NYPD detectives, working alongside federal agents. They have been at the center of this investigation. Members of the FBI and the Joint Terrorism Task Force, including NYPD task force officers, have executed search warrants at Kayumi and Balat's residences in Pennsylvania. Another important note, the two defendants arrived in New York City roughly 1 hour before they were arrested. According to our investigation, they crossed the George Washington Bridge with a license plate reader ping at 11:36 a.m. on Saturday, parked in front of 48 East End Avenue between 81st and 82nd Streets at 12:05 p.m., and walked to the protest. They ignited and threw the devices at approximately 12:15 p.m. and were immediately arrested thereafter. I want to thank our great United States Attorney Jay Clayton for his extraordinary partnership, as well as the prosecutors from SDNY for everything that they do, especially for their work on this investigation and their forthcoming prosecution. I also want to thank the FBI, especially James Barnacle, Assistant Director in charge of the FBI New York Field Office, and Rob Kassane, the FBI's Special Agent in charge for counterterrorism, as well as the Joint Terrorism Task Force. We are grateful always for the FBI agents and assistant U.S. attorneys who have been working around the clock with us since Saturday. Finally, and most importantly, I want to recognize the members of the NYPD who responded on Saturday and in the hours that followed. The officers assigned to that protest who ran toward a lit, improvised, explosive device, the bomb squad technicians who secured and analyzed the devices, the detectives and analysts who worked through the night to develop this investigation, and the countless members of service who helped ensure the security of the people of New York City during a very tense and dangerous situation. The NYPD remains on heightened alert, and our mission is simple, and that is to keep New Yorkers safe. That responsibility belongs to the nearly 35,000 members of this department who stand watch over this city and who are prepared to respond whenever and wherever danger appears. On Saturday, we saw that commitment in action. Thank you. Now I will turn it over to our United States Attorney, Jay Clayton.
Thank you, Commissioner Tisch. I'm very proud to be here today with Commissioner Tisch and Director Barnacle representing this joint effort to keep our city safe. And I'm going to pick up where the commissioner left off. I watched the video of New York Police Department officers running to the danger, knowing that these might be explosive devices, knowing that they might explode. That is the kind of commitment that makes this city great. Thank you. Thank all your officers. It's tremendous. It makes me so proud as a New Yorker. As Commissioner Tisch noted, we charged 2 individuals today, Balat and Kayumi. They are charged federally with 5 counts: attempted provision of material support and resources to a designated foreign terrorist organization, use of a weapon of mass destruction, transportation of explosive materials, interstate transportation and receipt of explosives, and unlawful possession of destructive devices. The facts alleged in the complaint are just that, allegations. In our great system of justice, they must be proven, and the defendants have the presumption of innocence. Commissioner Tisch did an exceptional job outlining the facts alleged in the complaint. These were ISIS-inspired actions. And it is chilling that they wanted to do something more than the Boston Marathon, more than 3 deaths. Free speech and peaceable assembly are the bedrock of American democracy. But violence is not protected. And it's not protected protest. It's not protected speech. In New York, violence, particularly violence that has a terrorist bent, violence that is meant to chill free speech, violence that is meant to keep us from assembling peaceably, will be met with swift justice. This investigation remains ongoing, and we encourage anyone with further information to contact the FBI at 1-800-CALL-FBI, C-A-L-L-FBI. In closing, I want to express my deep gratitude for, again, the NYPD and all of those folks in my office who immediately answered the call and worked around the clock. In particular, the heads of our National Security and International Narcotics Unit, Eleanor Tarlow and Jason Richmond, and our line U.S. attorneys, who I don't think have slept, which is why we are here so quickly, Jonathan Bodonsky and Jane Chong. Thank you all very much. I'll now turn it over to Director Barnacle.
Thank you, U.S. Attorney Clayton. My name is James Barnacle. I'm the Assistant Director in charge of the FBI's New York Field Office. Today, alongside our partners in New York City Police Department and the Southern District of New York, our office has announced federal terrorism charges against Amir Balat and Ibrahim Qayyumi. On Saturday, March 7th, these 2 individuals allegedly threw one suspicious device and attempted to throw another during a protest outside Gracie Mansion. As the commissioner noted, if it weren't for the bravery of 2 New York's finest, we could have had a much more tragic incident. Yesterday, on Sunday, March 8th, a 3rd device was recovered from a vehicle on East End Avenue. Upon careful analysis by NYPD bomb techs and FBI Special Agent bomb technicians, it was determined that these items were improvised explosive devices, IEDs, designed to inflict serious injury and death to those in the vicinity of the intended blast zone. Both subjects have stated they were inspired by ISIS, a designated terrorist organization, to conduct this attack. Balat and Qayyumi sought to incite fear and mass suffering through this alleged attempted terror attack in the backyard of an elected city official. This weekend was just another example of the elevated threat environment we're currently living in. Let me be clear. The FBI will not tolerate those who use violence against targets in New York City to broadcast their terroristic ideologies. This would not have been possible. The outcome we're talking about today would not have been possible without the FBI's New York Joint Terrorism Task Force, led by Special Agent in Charge Rob Kassane, our Special Agent Bob technicians, as well as our partners at the NYPD and the Southern District of New York. I would like to thank Commissioner Jessica Tisch for your department's unwavering partnership, and especially for the bravery of your officers who ran towards danger to protect this city and our residents. Thank you, U.S. Attorney Clayton, for your team's determination to bring weighty criminal charges against these defendants and hold them accountable for the reprehensible actions from this past weekend. Additionally, I'd like to extend my appreciation to the Customs and Border Protection, the Port Authority Police Department, the New York State Police, Homeland Security Investigations, as well as the FBI divisions in Newark, New Jersey, and Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. Those offices assisted us throughout the weekend. The collective efforts across all these agencies, including those who could not join us today, thwarted a potentially devastating day in this city. Rest assured, the FBI and the New York City Police Department remain at the ready to defend the homeland against anyone seeking to harm our community. We're continuing to chase down all leads and tips in this ongoing investigation. as U.S. Attorney mentioned, anyone that has tips out there, we encourage you to call the FBI at 1-800-CALL-FBI, or you can submit your tips online at fbi.gov. Thank you. Turn it over to Commissioner for any questions.
All right, so we will now take any questions you have on topic only, please. We will do our best to answer, but as I mentioned at the earlier press conference today, we may be limited in some of the things we can say because we don't want to say anything that will in any way make these fine prosecutors' work more difficult.
Thank you, Commissioner. Again, we do on-topic questions. Go to Gloria first.
Thank you very much. I hear what you said about what the individuals stated regarding ISIS, but do you have any information yet about whether they were self-radicalized or actually recruited by ISIS? And is there anything you can say about whether they were targeting anything or any person specifically? The mayor said earlier today that it was known this protest was going to take place for about a week. So did they come here specifically to target that group, or were they targeting the mayor, any other group?
So we're not going to be able to answer the first question at this time for the reasons I stated earlier. It is clear that they showed up in front of Gracie Mansion for their planned counter-protest in response to the original protest that was planned by a Jake Lang-affiliated group.
Okay, we've been listening in there as officials there in New York announced these federal charges against two young men, Amir Balat, 18 years old, and Ibrahim Kayumi, 19 years old, who are charged now in federal court with attempting to provide material support to ISIS, use of a weapon of mass destruction, and multiple explosive offenses there. I think there are about 5 major charges that they're facing right now. They say that they attempted to detonate 2 improvised explosive devices during some dueling protest over the weekend outside of Gracie Mansion, which is where the mayor lives. So that was why the question there, that very first question to the prosecutor was about, okay, well, was the mayor the target? Were the protesters the target? They couldn't answer that question just yet because of the investigation. But the investigation has determined that at least one of the devices contained some highly volatile explosives. They call it TATP. And so these teens were arrested at the scene. And then they found a third device that was in a vehicle nearby there. So they're facing the possibility of decades in federal prison. Of course, this is just the beginning of this investigation. The authorities there saying how they've worked together very quickly to try to put together a strong case against these young men. Again, just 18 and 19 years old, but very much so inspired by ISIS. But they could not speak to whether the suspects here, were in direct contact with anyone from ISIS or whether they were just self-inspired. Still, very serious situation that took place over the weekend, trying to, it seems they mentioned in the press conference, outdo the Boston Marathon bombing, but in the end, no one was hurt there in New York City, thank goodness, because of quick thinking and acting of first responders who were there at the scene, who were able to tackle these 2 teenagers. So we'll continue to watch what's happening there. It's 1:19 right now. We're going to get in a quick 2-minute break, and then we'll bring in our first set of guests. All right, it's 1:21 right now, everyone, and the Pope has a new ride, and it's a Ford that was assembled right here in the city of Chicago. So I want to go ahead and bring in Tony DeSimo, who is a manager there at the Ford plant, to talk a little bit more about the new vehicle, and we got to even get into the plates on the vehicle as well. Thanks so much for your time.
Thanks, Anita. Appreciate you having me on.
Absolutely. So how did this connection even come about?
Yeah, so our CEO, Jim Farley, reached out to the Vatican last year, and knowing that the Pope was from the south side of Chicago, he thought it'd be very fitting to have the Pope drive a Ford Explorer built here on the south side of Chicago at Chicago Assembly Plant. Once that arrangements were made, they reached out to a select few of us here at the plant in order to keep it confidential, and then we worked to get the vehicle built.
Tony, how hard was it keeping that secret?
Very hard. I would say we did a lot of code talk in order, we had a lot of people around the vehicle when we built it. We told them it was going to be for a VIP and Jim Farley, since Jim Farley was purchasing the car to donate to the Vatican. And we just had to do a lot of keeping quiet, and it worked out pretty well.
Okay, so, usually when Secret Service agents no longer have to cover a president or their family or something, we finally find out a code name for the family members. Did you all have a code name for this?
Not necessarily. We just always referred to it as a VIP vehicle in all of our meetings in preparation for it.
Okay. All right. So let's talk a little bit more about how long it took to bring this to fruition, and maybe some of the cool things about it.
Yeah, I would say it took about 3 to 4 months total from reaching out to delivery. There's a lot of things that had to go on in order to make this work because of some of the customizations too. So one of the main customizations done to the vehicle is we put a 3.3 liter V6 hybrid and 10-speed transmission in it to make it more eco-friendly. It has some very cool, unique interior details. They were done by our design team that designed some of the original Explorer. As you may know, the Explorer already has some Easter eggs in it related to Chicago, but we've added some additional ones. We added a Chicago flag onto the front seats, like a tag. We went ahead and stitched in a Chicago skyline on the back of the center console armrest, and then the scuff plates were laser etched with a design that's from the source from the Chicago to the Vatican. Then additionally, to give a personal touch to it, we had sent with some pictures of the Chicago team here that built the vehicle, a couple of personalized letters from members of the team that worked on the vehicle, the plates you mentioned, a Chicago Assembly Plant celebration coin, and what was the last thing? Sorry, and Aurelio's. For fun, we learned that the Pope's one of his favorite restaurants was Aurelio's Pizza in the city, so we sent some empty pizza boxes in the vehicle as well.
Empty? That would have made me mad, Tony.
The pizza wouldn't have survived the boat trip over.
Okay, so at what point in time did you tell everyone what it was actually for?
Yeah, I think, about a week, within the last week, we've told everybody, that the Vatican published an article shortly after Jim Farley and his wife delivered the vehicle on February 28th. So it's really just been about the last week, but it's been tremendous news. Everybody here has been super excited about it.
Yeah, I mean, how did people react when they finally knew that they had a hand in something that is so, well, now sacred?
Yeah, they were really overjoyed. They felt very blessed as we talked to some of the employees to be able to build the vehicle for the Pope. Some of the people even went to the high school that the Pope used to teach at, St. Rita. So as we talked to people around, so many people here have a connection in some degree of freedom away from the Pope. It's pretty cool.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and now let's get into these license plates.
Yes. So one of them was more traditional, said Leo XIV in Roman numerals, and then the other one said the Pope, kind of after, some of the Chicago, Saturday Night Live, Bears themed schemes, and, with the Pope being from here, we felt it was pretty fitting.
Of course, the Bears. The Pope seems very appropriate, for sure. And so I'm seeing that he actually noticed those personal touches when he saw it.
Yes, absolutely. And he told Jim and his wife that he absolutely loved the touches, really felt they were really appreciated that he did that. One of the additional things he mentioned to Jim is that he used to drive a Ford Fusion manual transmission and how much he loved manual transmissions. And that's something that really stood out to me because I used to have one of that same exact car, and I'm a very big manual transmission enthusiast too. So good connection there for me.
All right. Now, we were a little puzzled over here about the other Easter eggs that are typically in the Ford Explorer. You got to let us know.
Yeah, so on the other Chicago one, it is on the right-hand side of the instrument panel. So if you open the passenger door, you can see it on the end cap there. On the left-hand side of the instrument panel is a Detroit skyline. And then one of the other ones is the center console. On the side of it, it has a whole bunch of the different Explorer models over the years since we've been building the Explorer for many generations now. That's some of the key ones. There may be one or two others, but those are the ones that are most noticeable.
And why an Explorer for the Pope?
So I think the biggest thing is we wanted something built here in Chicago on the South Side. Beyond that, I'm not privy to the conversations that happened directly between the Vatican and Jim Farley. But that was one of the key things that he liked about it.
All right. Well, this is very interesting. Super awesome that you all were all involved in this, and you'll be able to say forevermore, that you were a part of something pretty epic, honestly. And every time you look at him out in this particular vehicle, you'll know that you had a hand in it. That's awesome.
No, thank you. Really appreciate the time, Anita.
Absolutely. Great speaking with you today.
Have a good day.
You too. Congratulations. It's really awesome stuff, especially, the fact that there are people who have a direct connection, be it that they were either taught at the same school or, that they grew up in Dalton or whatever the case may be, that now they'll be able to look at this vehicle and know that, hey, I don't know if I would have been able to keep that secret. I don't know. They did a good job making sure that word did not get out before it was supposed to, because who would be able to hold that in? It's such an amazing opportunity. So they only told them it was for VIP. That's a very, very, very VIP. So let's take a quick break, everybody. It's 1:30 right now, and then we'll try to get to our next guest. All right, it's 1:31 right now, everyone, and selected from 73 submissions citywide. The Lawndale Christian Development Corporation has been just named an awardee for a major grant. I have the privilege of talking to the executive director now, Dr. Richard Townsell. Thank you so much for your time this afternoon, and congratulations.
Thank you, Ms. Glenn. Thank you so much for having us on. It's an exciting time in North Lawndale.
It should be. It should be. You all are always doing wonderful things, but this is going to help you in a huge way.
Yeah, no doubt about it. Our goal is to build a state-of-the-art recreation center for the community, for both the North Lawndale and Little Village community. It's called the One Lawndale Recreation Center, the coming together of the two communities to build a 120,000 plus square foot community recreation center, sort of similar to what's been built in Pullman with the Pullman Recreation Center and other recreation centers that are popping up around the city.
I remember coming out to North Lawndale to do a story with Boxing Out Negativity. And this is specifically one of the things that they were like, we don't have over here, like just a sports complex for the kids.
Yes, yes. Well, our goal is to build this facility. It'll have 5 basketball, volleyball, pickleball courts, 2 gigantic turf fields that will be for football, soccer, baseball, kickball, flag football, a wrestling gym, the greatest sport in the world and the first Olympic sport. You might tell I used to wrestle, and boxing as well. And so we're going to have space for groups like Boxing Out Negativity and Little Village Boxing, and as well as esports and a golf simulator and a concession stand, so we could sell a pro shop, sell goods and services and food, to folks in the community. So those are all things that are gonna come to fruition.
It warms my heart so much. It really does, because there's so many kids who have great talent, who could use just some extra facilities to be able to hone those talents, and you never know where they will end up. Just talk about the importance of having something like this in North Lawndale.
Well, we're the third largest, Chicago's the third largest city in the country and one of the biggest school districts in the country. There isn't a single recreation facility like this in Chicago public schools. So all of the schools in suburbs, if you go to Proviso West, they have a beautiful state-of-the-art track, indoor facility. You go to Oak Park, they've got a new one. You go to South Suburbs, new ones. And in the city of Chicago, we have none. And so I coach wrestling, like I said, and we just had 4 young people from Chicago Hope Academy wrestle. We had 8 wrestle in the state tournament. 4 were in the finals. 2 of them were champions, and we also had the first girl state champion in wrestling at Chicago Hope Academy, and their brothers and sisters, Arkel Griffin and his sister DJ, were both state champions, and they live in North Lawndale. And so imagine we wrestle in a facility right now where they just kind of roll out the mats on the gym floor, and then we have to roll them up every day. And so imagine if they had a standalone facility where they could just train year round and not have to worry, because volleyball comes in at 6, and so we got to have the mats up by 5:45. In the suburbs, nobody competes like that. So our kids are competing, even though we don't have facilities like they do with all these other schools that we're competing against.
Yeah, I mean, just a huge, this is a game changer for sure. And so you're adding in some other elements here, year-round programming, mentoring, mental health support. I love that. Just tell me about the effort to add in some things that maybe support the whole child.
Yeah, so nutrition assistance as well. We have a health clinic, and so just across the street, the Christian Health Center. And so imagine some kids have trouble getting physicals for school, right? To be able to have that, and to have, tutoring support and, educational work, as well as, violence prevention. To me, some of the best violence prevention you could ever have is to have kids playing sports, having great mentors and other folks that aspire to do great things. And so that's a huge part of what we'll be doing with One Lawndale.
Yeah. When you see the various different efforts that are happening in the community, I mean, well, for so long, this is a disinvested community. So now when you look at some of the efforts that are starting to come to fruition, or the money that's starting to come there to say like, hey, we want to help out in this effort. Like we're all a part of the village. How can we help? What does that mean to you?
Well, it's an honor. It's humbling. But it's also, I live in North Lawndale, and so I've been here most of my life, and so to be able to see transformation that's for the community, not just transformation. Oftentimes, what happens around the country, if you look at what's going on in Harlem and in Oakland and other places, DC is an example. New development comes, but it pushes out people from the neighborhood that have been there for, through the tough times. And so our goal is to do redevelopment without displacement. And so how do the people that have been here through the tough times continue to benefit from what we're doing? And so we're working on multiple fronts. One Lawndale is one of them. We're building new homes for working families. We're building new commercial developments. We're going to build a trade school with the city colleges. And so all the things that makes communities healthy and that residents really deserve is what we're working on doing in North Lawndale.
Yeah, and I want to circle back. Before we finish our conversation, we'll circle back to, of course, the sports complex, which is why you came on. But you reminded me of our conversation a few months ago as you were talking about the building of homes in that area. The last time I spoke to you, the property taxes had just shot up there in North Lawndale. Did you ever get any relief for people in that area so that they don't feel like they're getting priced out?
No, there was no relief given what's happened is that some folks have gotten their exemptions. We're actually organizing to think through at a state level, not just in our neighborhood, but this is a statewide issue. Illinois has some of the highest property taxes in the nation. And so we're thinking through what kind of work we're going to do to make sure that taxes are fair and that they're predictable. And so you'll hear more about that in a few months.
Okay, we'll have you back on then. So tell me about this foundation that's giving you all the grant for the sports complex.
So it's the Lohengrin Family Foundation. They're based here. The families in New York, tremendously incredible family, have been doing work in Chicago for many years. And we applied, like you said, with 70 others, and then we were shortlisted to, I think, 10, and then we got it down to the final 3. And then what they ended up doing was awarding 2 of the 3. So we received 10 million, and there's 5 million that goes to Erie Family Health, which is a little village. And so both neighborhoods will be receiving significant capital towards building these centers. And so, we wouldn't be able to do it without it. There'd be a big, $10 million hole if we didn't have the Lohengrin Family Foundation being as generous as they are towards this.
And does it put you in like a pot where you can receive ongoing funds, or is it a one-time investment? How does that work?
It's one time, I think, but I think that if we're able to build this facility without debt, which is our goal, and then charge folks and make money on concessions, we believe that it will be, self-sustaining. And so the goal is build the kind of facility that folks will pay to use, but will also not, pay so much that we price out folks in the community, in the schools, in the parks, and those. So we got to have a balance between the folks that are going to pay, a lot of money to use it, like volleyball or AAU basketball, and regular folks in the neighborhood that can't afford to pay and should still have an opportunity to be in a great facility.
Yeah, really important aspect of planning. So what does the time frame look like?
So our goal is, if all things work out, and I'm always never patient, and so I'm always pushing for things to happen faster than they could, is we would be breaking ground this fall, and it takes about 12 to 15 months to build the facility. So we're looking at January 2028 is when we would be opening the new facility.
Okay, well, we're on for the ride. Please continue to keep us updated along the way. We certainly hope that January 2028 there is a major, celebration. But we're celebrating with you now already and rooting for you all the way. Thank you for all your work there in North Lawndale and beyond. Really appreciate seeing somebody invest in the way that you are.
Thank you so much. Have a blessed day.
Absolutely. And when you have your property tax discussion, come on back.
No, it's coming. Trust and
Okay.
believe. It's coming.
Okay. All right. It's at 1:41, everyone. We're going to take a quick break and we'll be right back. Welcome back, everyone. It's just about 1:45 right now, and we know so many of our regular viewers love when we have updates on 3i Atlas. So you're getting one today. Inez Inez, I don't want to butcher your last name. Go ahead and tell me how to pronounce your last name for me.
Belgesem, Ines Belgesem. Hi.
Belgesem. Okay, thank you. I was not going in that direction, so I'm glad I just went ahead and stopped. She is with the European Space Agency. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. So tell us where we are now in terms of images of 3i Atlas.
So it's really cool. I'm part of a mission that's called JUICE for Jupiter Icy Moons Explorer. And we actually just received a couple weeks ago our images that we took from 3i Atlas from last November. It took us a while to get them back, but we're really excited about it. I don't know if you have the image that we released a couple of days ago. But it's, in my opinion, I'm biased, of course, but I think it's the best in the world that we've had, because we've basically had the closest, most active images of 3i Atlas. So it's pretty cool, and our instrument team are hard at work trying to work on the data we just received. So hopefully we'll know more in a couple weeks.
Okay, when you say it's the best, why is it the best, and what do you get from the best image?
So I was going to say a picture is worth 1,000 words, but I thought you had it. I wasn't sure. But when I say the best, is that we've had images taken basically from every distance from the Earth. JUICE was very, very close. Atlas is a comet. So a comet becomes more active as it gets closer to the sun. And it got the closest to the sun on October 29th. JUICE started observing it on November 4th, and so we were the closest when it was the most active. So that's where in our images you can see very clearly what we call the tail, the ion tail. So you see it in all its glory. You see all the activity, and you have to remember, until July of last year, we didn't even know that existed. We didn't even know Atlas was a thing. So it's quite interesting how the entire world, really, all the observatories in the world, all the probes that were in a position to observe it, kind of rallied together, pulled their resources to get all that history since then.
And how did you all get so close?
Well, it's pure luck, dumb luck. It's quite. It only makes the story even more extraordinary. So again, JUICE is not meant to do any of this. JUICE is a mission that is designed to observe Jupiter and its icy moons. So we are on our way there, but before we get there, we have to do a few detours. And we just happened to be in a really good position. We were very close to the peak of activity. And even better, we were in a position to observe it when the Earth wasn't in a position to observe it. Because basically, 3A Atlas passed behind the sun, which made it inaccessible to all of our Earth observers. So if it wasn't for JUICE and another mission, actually, a NASA mission that's called Europa Clipper, that observed Atlas when it was behind the sun, we wouldn't have any of those images. So that's really cool. That's but it's dumb luck. It's just luck.
When you do get those images up and close, I mean, what kind of questions do you start to ask about what you've seen?
So we're lucky because 5 of our instruments got to observe 3I Atlas in November. So the images that we have released so far are from our navigation camera and our science camera, Janus. And I will take the opportunity to thank our colleagues from Janus who got one image very quickly out, so we can start sharing this, even though it's going to take a while to do all the science behind it. What we start looking for in those images are what we call the coma. So basically, a comet is a chunk of rock and ice, mostly ice. And most of the time it's not active because it's very far for any source of heat. But as it gets closer to the sun, it will start to heat up, and all that ice will start sublimating, and it will start creating sort of a cloud around it that we call the coma. And then a lot of particles will be ejected from the comet as we get closer. And that's what's been happening as we got closer to the sun. We still see some activity, I think. ALMA very recently detected alcohol, so methanol in the coma. And that's actually not something that we see a lot in comets from our solar system. So what makes Atlas so interesting is that it's not in our solar system. The 3I stands for interstellar object. So it comes from a different system. So it's really interesting because what we start to see, and again, the science from JUICE will tell us if that is confirmed or not in the next few weeks, but we're starting to see not behavior, but chemistry that is a bit different from what we're used to in the solar system. So that's really cool. It's a sign that maybe it's coming from a different system that has a very different type of chemistry, have a very different type of history.
Now, okay, when you start to analyze those things, is it changing anything that you have always thought, or anything that you
That's
presumed?
a very good question. That's a very good question. I don't have the answer to that right now because I work at the European Space Agency. I work on what we call science operations, but I don't get to see the data right now. So our scientists are working with the data, and they will tell us in a couple of weeks. It takes some time. Science takes time, but we have to be patient. But our scientists will tell us if that completely changes what we think we know about comets and about this object in particular. So far, it seems like all the behavior that it shows is pretty on par with what we would expect from a comet, from a cometary object. But then, as I told you about ALMA, we see some chemistry, some measurements that seem to indicate something different. So it doesn't really change right now our full understanding of anything, but all those parts are part of a puzzle of trying to understand what happens in other solar systems, wherever Atlas is coming from, which we don't know. It seems to be quite different from our own.
How exciting is that? I mean, I don't know how long you've been working there at the space agency, but when you do kind of get an encounter with something that does, kind of like spark, like, wait, we don't know about this yet. How exciting is that moment?
It's amazing. It's amazing. Like I said, we discovered this, and when I say we, it's not us at the Space Agency. I think it was first detected by the Planetary Defense System of NASA, but very quickly, when we realized that it was an interstellar object, scientists the world over got super nerdy about it, super interested in trying. we basically pointed all our telescopes towards it. We started looking at our space probe fleet, literally like looking where everybody was, which position that we're going to be on, and very quickly we started making a plan. Our scientists were super excited. They started sending us requests to do observations, and so we quickly tried to put a plan together. Our flight control team and flight dynamics team, who again were not planning on doing any of this during this mission, this is not the point of our mission, started like putting something together very quickly. You have to remember, we discovered it in July. We made a plan during the summer, and we observed in November. It was quite a quick turnaround. And what's really funny is that with JUICE, we were in the best position again to observe it, but we weren't allowed to start anything, to observe anything until the 4th of November, because we were really close to Venus. And we were in a really hot spot of the solar system. And again, our spacecraft is meant for Jupiter, where it's very far, very cold. So there was a lot of figuring this out, but everybody was super excited. And it's kind of, in those moments, scientists really, like the inner child of all of us kind of comes out. And everybody was trying their best to make this work. And we got amazing data from it. So it's pretty great.
How cool, yeah. Tell us a little bit more about the JUICE lander craft.
Okay, so it's not a lander, it's a spacecraft, but so JUICE stands for Jupiter Icy Moons Explorer, and it's on its way to Jupiter. We are scheduled to arrive in July 31, and we'll have a 3-year mission observing the entire Julian system and its icy moons. And fun fact about the icy moons of Jupiter, it's one of the biggest there are some of the strongest candidates in the search for habitability. So when we say habitability, it's like the necessary conditions for life, but it doesn't necessarily mean that there will be life, but they're still a very good candidate to kind of explore where life could maybe start and be sustained. So it's quite cool because all those icy moons have huge ocean underneath their surface, and we think that it might be possible that at the bottom of those oceans we could have like a seafloor very similar to the one we have on Earth, and that's where life started on Earth. So kind of by analogy, we're thinking those are very good candidates for that. So very excited about this mission. It's been about 20 years in the making, and we'll still have to wait a little bit more to start observing Jupiter.
This is fascinating. And then there are scientists who are proposing using the sun to like super accelerate a ship to chase Atlas out into the galaxy. Have you heard about that? What do you think about that?
I have to admit, I haven't heard about that one. So the closest I can think of is what we call solar sail. But in my very limited knowledge of that technology, it's really not that quick in general. I will say, when you start putting together a mission, I just said that JUICE was 20 years in the making. Mm-hmm. The idea of jump-starting a space mission right now, building a craft, and finding a way to accelerate it to catch up to Atlas seems a bit ambitious. I'm not aware of any plans to do this because I actually don't know what the rest of the trajectory looks like. Maybe other spacecrafts can observe it. I know that we'll continue to observe it with our telescopes for as long as we can. Try to understand what happens when the activity kind of dials down. But yeah, just jump starting a space mission is very heavy work.
I can only imagine, and probably will die only imagining. But for you, I mean, what inspired you to do this sort of work? And for something that is 20 years in the making, how does it feel to be a part of this moment?
It's quite incredible. I honestly don't remember when it started. As far as I can remember, it's always been something. Space has always been something that I'm really passionate about, and the more I actually put my hands in the workings of it, and like I'm a scientist, but I also do operations, and I work with scientists the world over, trying to like make the most of this mission. I love it. I just love my job. It's really, I don't know, like you want to hear about it. You see how inspiring this is, and this is just like Atlas is just, again, dumb luck that we actually saw it and it actually crossed our paths when we were on Earth. Like it's a lot of serendipity that led us here. Juice is different because we have been planning this for years, and I'm just a little part of a huge team and a huge effort. Some people have been working on it from the beginning and won't see necessarily the end. And so those missions are quite special because it takes a full generation to bring them to fruition. So I feel very lucky. I feel very lucky to be where I am and to be a very, very small part of a mission like this.
That was very humble. I have some eagle-eyed observers around here, and so before I let you go, I need to know, we need to confirm, is that like a stuffed toy edition of Juice behind you?
It's not Juice because we don't have one yet, but I am very strongly lobbying for it. Now, this is actually our one ESA mission that actually went to a comet that's called Rosetta. And so I don't know if you remember this duck-shaped comet. I won't try to pronounce it because it's a Russian name that I won't be able to pronounce. But it's our spacecraft, and this is the small lander. We actually landed on a comet with ESA with the Rosetta mission, and this is the Philae lander that actually landed on a comet. It's one of my favorite things in the world. It's actually, this one is actually a gift, and it's actually discontinued.
It's super cute.
Yeah.
Super cute. Great speaking with you, Inez. Wonderful speaking with you. You all are doing amazing work, and we appreciate when you take a little time to update us on what's going on.
Thank you for having me, and thanks for being interested in all that great science.
You all make it interesting. Thanks again. Have a great rest of your day.
You too. Bye.
All right. Take care. Everybody, it's just about 2 o'clock, so give us 2 minutes and we'll be right back. I'll set you up for what you can expect in the next hour. Welcome back, everyone. 2:02 right now on your Monday afternoon, a beautiful Monday afternoon here in the city of Chicago. Let's talk a little bit about what we are anticipating in this second hour here on Chicago Live Together. We're gearing up for what will be a multitude of functions that will be taking place to celebrate St. Patrick's Day. It's not we don't in Chicago we don't leave it to one day. So there will be several days, and we're going to be talking about celebrating 180 years of heritage starting tonight at Old St. Patrick's Church. We're going to talk about that a little bit later on in the hour. Looking forward to that conversation. It's so much fun around here leading up to St. Patrick's Day. So we'll be talking about that around 2:45. We're going to get a preview of the Inspired Home Show. Now, Inspired Home Show means it's giving you all of the inspiration for things to do at your home, all of the new innovations, all of the new things that are coming out that you might want to, put into your home or suggest that somebody else put in there, however that works out. We're going to get a preview. It's going to be going on from starting tomorrow through the 12th. So we're getting a look at it before it even opens its doors, and that should be very interesting. One of the things that when we talk about like inspired home shows, I'm sure AI is going to come into the conversation. Obviously, AI can be used for good and it can be used for bad. So we're also going to talk about that side of things here with the Fresh Content Society's founder. This is about detecting fake AI videos, which becomes so much more important year after year, especially in a year where we have elections. It's a midterm year. There's so many fake videos out there. You do not want to fall victim to watching a fake video and thinking that that is the real deal. And so we're going to talk about how to, kind of point them out, how to weed them out as they should be. But first I want to have a conversation about stadium concessions. Have you ever been to a ballpark and, the cost of a game and entrance into a game is one thing, but if you get a Frank, if you get a beer, if you get, a few things add up very fast. And so in Milwaukee, in Wisconsin, there are state senators who are introducing a bill to stop what they call the stadium squeeze. And I'm speaking with one of them now, Wisconsin State Senator Brett Paff. Thank you so much for your time.
Well, thank you. It's great to be here.
When you were getting ready to introduce this bill, what is maybe the most astronomical price you've heard somebody paying before they left one of these games, whether it be the ballpark or, some type of stadium, some other function?
$8 for a hot dog, $12 for a 16-ounce beer, $8 for a pretzel, popcorn costing $6. I mean, let's face it, somebody should not have to take out a second mortgage in order to go to the ballpark with their family. And we see a situation, not just in this state, but around the country, in which, quite frankly, billionaires and millionaires can be up in the skybox and have things catered. And the rest of us working staffs, we're down here in the general admission, and we are paying an awful lot to get in to see a game. And then obviously if we want a hot dog or if we want a Diet Coke, we have to dig deep into our pockets in order to pay for it. It's just wrong. And I think we need to do better.
Yeah, I mean, if you have a family, it's bad enough if it's one person. But if you have a family, I mean, that can be $200, $300 more than what you even paid to get in.
Yeah, think about that. It's ridiculous. I grew up on a farm here in western Wisconsin, and if we were lucky, we went to Milwaukee once a summer to see the Milwaukee Brewers play. And I'm a huge Milwaukee Brewers fan. And the thing is that, as a parent, I want to take my kids to the games as well. But the thing is that it's very expensive. It is way too expensive. And the thing is what's so frustrating is most of these teams are owned by multimillionaires, billionaires, and they're playing in publicly subsidized sports stadiums. But yet at the same time, we are being asked to pay, $10 for for beer, $15 for something to drink. And of course, if you want a sandwich, it can be $20 or more. A hot dog with pickle relish is at least $6, if not $8.
Yeah. Even if you're sober and you need a bottle of water, it's going to cost you.
That's right. Yeah, that's $5. That's absolutely right.
Exactly.
It's too much.
Yeah.
It's just too much. And the thing is that, I mean, come on, people deserve a break. I am so excited that baseball is right around the corner. I mean, spring training is taking place. And of course, there's going to be home openers coming up at the end of this month. And I can't wait for baseball. But the thing is that I really know your audience. And if America's pastime, I mean, we need to know our audience and realize the fact that not everyone is, making $250,000 a year and has the disposable income or more, has the disposable income to to go to the games. And, I want to continue the tradition of spending time with family members and friends. And I think there's nothing better on a summer evening than being at the ballpark. May it be at Wrigley Field, or may it be at on the south side, or may it be up at in Milwaukee at American Family Field. It's all a lot of fun, and I encourage people to get out to the stadium. But work with us, fans. Please, just work with us and realize that, we are your fans, and we want you to succeed.
Yeah, it's cyclical for sure. Okay, so what kind of limits would this bill put on them?
Well, it's pretty simple, actually. It basically says this. If you are playing in a publicly subsidized stadium or public field, and you're selling concessions, no more than 20% markup above cost. No more than 20%. Because let's face it, these are monopolistic type practices that are taking place, quite frankly, when it comes to these concessions. It's not like you're going to a public market in which you have all of these separate entrepreneurs that are selling you their different food items. It's not like you're going to different food trucks. I mean, you're within a public stadium, but yet at the same time, these prices are so terribly expensive. So it's 20% markup. I think that's fair. I think that's very fair, because the thing is that we cannot price America's pastime. We can't price baseball, football, basketball, or even college sports. You have to recognize how far consumers can go, and we are sports fans. Give us a break.
Yeah, we're calling foul on this one.
Yes, we're calling foul. I like that.
What's been the reaction that you all have gotten thus far?
Well, you can imagine the reaction we receive. Most sports fans are like, "Good for you. Good for you for doing this. This is something that's needed. It's long overdue, and thanks for sticking up for the little guy." And then I've had others that have said, come on, legislator, you're a state senator. We expect you to be working on, really important issues that are facing here in the state of Wisconsin. May it be public education, economic development, growth for, again, to grow our state's economy. All of those issues are so important, and I take them very serious. But I also take serious the fact that, baseball and sports, the American consumer and the American public, we work hard every single day, and we want to have an opportunity to enjoy and see our favorite team play. And with the cost right now when it comes to all these streaming services, it's getting almost expensive to watch it at home. But there's nothing better than being in the stadium. And I just want to let these owners know that, hey, we like your product. We like your product a lot. Just remember, us as fans, we want you to succeed. But give us an opportunity to take our family to the ballpark in an affordable manner.
Yeah, and I guess, when it comes to all of the other issues that maybe someone would be looking for you to champion outside of something having to deal with sports, a lot of them do surround affordability.
Exactly. That's exactly right. I mean, let's just take a step back here. Recognize the fact that the average NFL ticket is over $100. Over $100 for the average NFL ticket. Then you're paying for parking. We could talk about the fact that gas prices now are going up in order to try and get in your car and get to the game. But between the parking, the tickets, once you're finally seated and you're sitting there in Soldier Field for the Packers versus the Bears, I mean, if you've got a family of 4, you already have close to $500 into this. Now you want to get up and you want to get a pretzel and you want to get some popcorn and maybe get something to drink. Well, that could be another $50 if you're buying it for a family of 4. I mean, that is a lot to ask. I mean, that is just a lot to ask. And I just say this. I want American sports. I love American sports. I want our sports teams to succeed. I love the rivalries that we have. Brewers, Cubs, and Packers, Bears. I want that to succeed. I want our sports fans to be so engaged. And the thing is that all I'm asking for is that for the operators of these stadiums and for the ownership to say, hey, let's give our fans a break.
And you have a co-sponsor on this bill, but among lawmakers, does it seem like you're going to get like bipartisan support? And what is the timeline like from here now that you've introduced it?
Well, the thing is that I cannot imagine why we would not receive bipartisan support. Who supports $15 beer in a manner in which we do not have competitive pressures, in which you have one company that is controlling all of the concessions at a sports stadium? I can't imagine either a Republican or a Democrat that wouldn't want to see a little bit more competition that takes place here. Also, we need to recognize the fact that these are sports facilities that public dollars have been used, taxpayer dollars have been used in order to fund the construction or renovation of these stadiums. So I think that ownership needs to recognize what the fans are saying. Now, when it comes to the legislative session here in Wisconsin, we do have a crunch. We are wrapping up our spring legislative session. It is my hope that leadership, in both political parties, Republicans and Democrats, will recognize this is common sense and we should do something here. But the thing is, I'm not going to stop. I'm going to continue to push the envelope on this because I do believe that it makes common sense. And Wisconsin is a tremendous sports state. We are very proud of our professional teams, from the Packers to the Milwaukee Bucks to the Milwaukee Brewers. We're very proud of our University of Wisconsin athletics. But again, give the common person an opportunity to sit in the stands and to cheer their team on to victory. And stop pricing us out.
We give you permission to cheer on any team except the Packers. No, I'm playing.
I understand. Hey, I will say this. I think this Packer-Bear rivalry is awesome. I have always thought that, going back, the old pictures of Hallis and Lombardi on the sidelines. You got Ray Nitschke and you got Mike Ditka and Dick Butkus. I just think that these rivalries are just awesome. And Walter Payton, I mean, he was the best. He was sweetness. He was the absolute best.
He was. Now, I don't want to get too much into the weeds here, but I have someone around here who's asking, what are your odds for Craig Counsell now that he's come this way?
Well, I will tell you this. As a Brewer fan, I will say that our hearts were broken. Our hearts were broken when Craig left to go to Chicago. The Brewer Chicago Cubs rivalry, that is real and it's awesome. I think rivalries are great. The fact that Craig, who was, he was raised in Milwaukee. His father worked for the Milwaukee Brewers organization. There's pictures of Craig sitting side by side with Bob Uecker, the legendary sports announcer for the Milwaukee Brewers, in the Brewer dugout. To have him wear a Chicago Cubs uniform, it's tough. It is tough, and I know Craig knows that because he hears it when he and the Cubs come up to American Family Field in Milwaukee. He hears it when he comes out of the dugout. All I can tell him is this: he is still still has a lot of support and love in Wisconsin and in Milwaukee, but we much prefer to have him wear the Milwaukee Brewer pinstripes than the Cubs.
You can't get him back. Senator.
I understand.
What's done is done.
Good for him. and good for him. And I'll tell you, we got Pat Murphy. He's two-time National League Manager of the Year here in Milwaukee. And these rivalries are great. They're second to none. I mean, they're just second to none. And I'll tell you, you can't help love these rivalries between Chicago and Green Bay and Chicago and Milwaukee.
It's good stuff for sure. It's good stuff for sure. So we will be watching to see if you knock it out of the park with your bill.
Oh, you're good.
But let us know how things go, okay?
I appreciate that.
All right.
Have a good one.
All right. Take care. It's 2:17 right now. Give us 2 minutes. We'll be back. Okay, welcome back, everyone. It's 2:20 right now, and we've got to talk about detecting fake AI videos. They are all over the place. So I think this will be a really educational conversation for all of us to be able to protect ourselves and be able to spot them when we see them. We have Fresh Content Society's founder, Scott, say your last name for me.
Emofarb.
Emofarb. Thank you so much for joining me. I appreciate your time.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm looking forward to talking about how to spot AI videos in social media.
Let's get right to it. What are some of your best tips?
Listen, there are a lot of things that everyone could do to protect themselves, but the top 3 ways to spot AI videos is 1, check if the platform labels it. A few months ago, platforms like TikTok, Instagram, and YouTube started to label content as AI generated and digitally altered. So the first thing to look for is whether the platform itself has labeled the video as AI generated. Number 2 is watch for visual clues. AI still struggles with human details. So, look for unnatural facial expressions, strange blinking, distorted hands or fingers. And often the clues are subtle, but something about the face, hands, or backgrounds could feel slightly off. And then the third, and this one takes a little bit more work, is investigate the account. So one of the easiest ways to verify content is checking the profile behind the video. So you can look for brand new accounts, someone that just started a new account, little posting history, meaning they really haven't posted that many videos, repetitive or automated content, and no real website or presence elsewhere, meaning their digital footprint only exists on social. And a quick click on the profile can tell you a lot. And real people usually have a real digital history.
Yeah, I mean, all of those things are super important. How How often do you see, though? I mean, maybe those things don't take long, for sure, to keep us from experiencing any type of harm, but even the 3 to 5 minutes it could take to go do those things, when someone doesn't do those, what types of issues come from running into these deep fakes?
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot. One, people can lose, there's security issues. There is unethical issues. There are, people that are trying to run for office. The person that you just had on the last segment, creating content that is fake videos. So there's a lot of security issues, financial issues, people reaching out to, especially elderly people that have a little bit more vulnerability or less time being scammed. And so there's too many to really lean back on, but security and financial risks are the biggest.
Yeah. Do you see some places online that are worse than others for deep fakes?
Yeah, I think TikTok is definitely a platform that a lot of people will spam. And what's been more interesting is brands using AI in their content rather than people that are creating AI related video content. I mean, think about fake people endorsing products or celebrities saying horrible things about other people and impersonating real individuals, and then you get deep fake celebrity ads or fake romance profiles, AI influencers pretending to be real. So if AI is being used to trick someone into trusting something that isn't real, that's where it becomes unethical.
Oh my gosh, that's a head spinner. It really is.
Well, there's so much out there, and you got to be, and there's not a lot of parameters and guidelines that these platforms offer. So if you're scrolling on, Facebook Reels or Instagram Reels or on TikTok and on your For You page, all of a sudden you see a deep fake or some AI content that doesn't seem right or seems potentially interesting, it's worth going down and doing your research to ensure that you do not get or you do not fall for the trap.
Yeah, and I mean, we had the romance scam that my colleague Terrence Lee was reporting on just recently, where the man lost $70,000.
I know. Can you believe that? And here in Chicago, no?
Yeah. I mean, it's heartbreaking.
It's heartbreaking, and I think it's going to get worse, unfortunately. And I think a lot of people are unaware of how good AI video content is becoming. And but I think the platforms are doing a better job on protecting consumers and for people that want to build relationships in the social media realm or in the digital world to be able to ensure that they do not get scammed and they do not get taken advantage of. And that's going to be an ongoing process and security systems that will have to evolve as AI continues to evolve.
Are they doing a better job naturally, or are they being forced, i.e. laws, regulations, to do better?
It's still so early, and so I don't think there's been a lot of laws and regulations that have been put in place. But what I've seen is the platforms itself, like a Meta, Facebook, Instagram, or a TikTok, or a YouTube, or even on LinkedIn, for them to start labeling content as AI generated is really such a proactive, good step to be able to give visibility into what is AI versus what is real. And I do think that over time, lawmakers and even brands that are brand marketers that are trying to promote their company on social media, you think about, do you want things to be authentic where it is not false advertising, or do you want things to be inauthentic where people are not being able to relate to the person or to the product? Because at the end of the day, if someone's trying to buy your product and it's AI driven, customer testimonial, what can you believe anymore?
Right. Yeah. So if we're so reactive to all of this, is there any way of us ever getting ahead of it to to protect people? I mean, or are we always going to be reacting? I mean, because all of this stuff is like, well, the cat's out the bag. It's out there now. I mean, so how do we ever get in front of it?
Yeah, you're so spot on. I mean, since it's so new, everything's going to be reactive as it rolls out, just like the platforms making their updates on each platform to be able to flag AI content. What I do think is that once other platforms start rolling out, I don't know if you're familiar, there's AI specific social media networks now. And so where it's just all AI content and you're not allowed to post human content. It has to be AI prompted and driven. So I think there's going to be a lot more adopting to AI content as it continues to roll out. And I think there's going to be a lot more guardrails that I think the government and or people that are producing these tools to be able to create AI videos will set better guardrails to protect consumers.
Doing what you do for a living, are there some specific guardrails that you have in mind that you'd like to see?
At Fresh Content Society, we are all about authenticity. And for us to leverage AI, we're using AI where it becomes a resource or an assistant, not replacement for authenticity. So, editing assistance, caption generation, data insights, production efficiency, brainstorming ideas. But we don't use AI to fake people, fake testimonials, or mislead audiences. And AI really should enhance creativity, but not replace authenticity. So as a social media marketing agency, our focus is to really connect with people and connect with brands to people in an authentic way.
Very interesting where we're going with all of this. Lots of concerns. But thank you so much for taking the time to kind of help us at least know some of the things to pay attention to when we see all of these videos out there. Some things that should pique our interest to say, maybe I want to slow down a bit and do a little research on that.
I think that would be brilliant. And I really appreciate your time. And thank you so much.
Absolutely. Have a great rest of your day.
You too now. Bye-bye.
About 2:30, everyone. Give us 2 minutes and we'll be back. Welcome back, everyone. 2:31 right now. We're just a few weeks away from the official start of spring. And a lot of people get all of the wonderful ideas in your mind about what to do in and around your home right around this time of year. And so that's why we have the Inspired Home Show that's going to be taking place. It starts tomorrow, and we're getting a preview today. Jane Kloss is joining me now. Thank you so much for joining us here on Chicago Live.
Hi, Anita. It's so great to be here. Yes, you are right. The Inspired Home Show kicks off tomorrow with all the products, all the innovations. They're going to all be on display here at McCormick Place. But as the show is not open to the public, I have got your sneak peek at all of the hottest trends that we are going to be seeing on the show floor this week. And I'm so excited to share them with you.
Well, let's get to it.
You bet. Okay, so one of my favorite trends is called connection is the new occasion. So what does that mean? That means you don't necessarily have to have a reason to get together. And I know you love that. It's about pop-ins. It's about game night. It's about, hey, come on over and let's just hang out. So here's how you're going to do that, because you don't want to miss hanging out with your friends. You don't want to do all the work. So you want to make it easy for yourself. So I say, let's put a nice charcuterie board right on the table. Your table looks styled in 5 minutes. So you want to have a beautiful charcuterie board on hand so you can decorate that as soon as your guests come over. The other thing we're looking at is set it and forget it. You want to cook it, make it happen. And this beautiful Dutch oven, clay pot oven from our friends at Magnifique. So this is a pot. It has 8 functions in one. And I'll tell you what, you can really do anything in here. You set it, you go hang out with your friends. And this is a beautiful nod to the evolution of the crock pot, which actually started here, launched here at the Inspired Home Show 55 years ago. And then lastly, social gatherings deserve a interaction of cooking. So this is the Verso Raclette grill set. So you're gonna cook your meats and veggies on top, and then underneath is where you're gonna melt all of the cheese, and everyone gets to do that together. So a lot of fun when you're together around the table and you're enjoying connection.
Okay, let's go back to the Magnifique item just a moment ago that you told me about.
You bet.
You said 8 settings. What all is it doing?
Oh, I love that you asked that question. You can slow cook, you can braise, you can sear, you can saute. It's a rice cooker. It's a Dutch oven, all in this gorgeous appliance. So again, this is something that whatever you're looking to do, it's going to save space because it's 8 appliances in one. And then you put it all in there, and then you're on your way hanging out with your friends.
I am inspired. Okay, let's keep going.
Okay, cool. So another trend that we're seeing is small batch cooking. Everyone is a little bit more mindful of portion control. Think of the folks that are taking GLP-1s, and then people that are downsizing. And let's face it, our lives are changing. We don't need all of these oversized appliances. So we're seeing a lot of different tools out on the show floor that are mini. So if we look here at this mini loaf pan that is from Chicago Metallic Bakeware. I love to say this. This is what solves the problem is I baked a loaf. Now I need to eat the loaf. No, you can bake all the little loaves. You can eat the small loaf and then you could freeze the rest. That's another benefit of small batch cooking. And again, you could do muffins, you could do cakes. So a lot of this miniature products that we're seeing on the showroom floor. The other thing, if you are a fan of Viking, this is the 8-inch skillet and fry pan. So this will go from the oven and onto your stovetop, and it's small, and you could do whatever you need to do. And the little fry pan, you don't need the 12-inch or the 14-inch anymore because we're looking at portion size.
Love what I am seeing so far. And you know what, with the loaf pans, it just gave me this flashback to when I was a kid and my mom spent all of this time on this beautiful loaf that we were taking to an event, and then she put it on top of the car so that she could get us in the car and forgot it was up there, took off, and our famous phrase is like, the bread! It's been 30 years and we're still like, the bread!
So even now at some of your family parties, when the loaf of bread comes out, you just scream, the bread!
So if she could have made multiple,
yes, and then you freeze them, and then the bread is not lost. And then I mean, look, it's like that's the size that you're going to want to eat, right?
Yeah. She would have had some backups. Okay, let's keep moving down the road.
She would have had some backup for sure. I love that. That's so funny. And there's so many small appliances that we're seeing. So lots of backup if you want to make multiple minis. Anita, I'm loving this trend. It is called kitchens with personality.
Oh.
So nowadays, people are not afraid to have a kitchen that is cooked in, that's lived in, that's real, that's authentic. So yes, we have the stark white or the stark gray kitchens, but now you want to add your own personality to the kitchens, and that's what these are all about. So I'm loving this. This is from Moo Kitchen. This is an apron. I'll tell you what's special about it. Not only because it has the pineapple parade on it, it's because there is a towel attached to your apron. Right? So you can be wearing this as your gorgeous outfit for the party that you're hosting, and then you can wear something simple underneath because this is making a statement, and then you can clean with it because unfortunately we still have to clean after parties.
All in one.
But this is a towel that's attached. What I love about this apron is that they have it in they have it in cherry, they have it in floral, they have it in so many other patterns. So you pick your pattern, you pick your personality.
There's so much to it. And then there's some other beautiful colors right next to you.
Yeah, and again, like I said, you still have to do the dishes, or maybe you can get somebody else to do the dishes. This is from Bright Box. Yeah, this is wash, this is clean, this is scrub, this is dry, all in one. But here's what it does. You're doing the work, but you're smiling because it's so happy and it's so bright and so vibrant. And I love what they're doing with all the different prints. Again, add that pop of color, add a nod to nostalgia, add something fun that's your personality into your kitchen. And I'm going to show you this one last thing from Wichita. This is a salad set. Look at the florals, look at the gold flecks. Gorgeous. So this is what's going to happen. You serve, then you want your guests to finish eating everything so you can keep looking at this beautiful serving bowl.
Well, you can't forget the glasses there. After all of that cooking and cleaning, something tells me we'll need the glasses.
We're going to toast it. I'm going to bring this right over to you, Fox. We're going to toast with each other to this. These are from Wichita. They are just blossom tulip glasses. And this just, if we're talking personality in the kitchen, this is exactly the personality I want to see in my kitchen.
Super cute, all of it. I'm loving all of it. So I'm seeing here that the show brings in an estimated $47 million in economic impact to the city. How so? I mean, this is amazing.
Well, isn't that amazing? Because of all the exhibitors that come to town, because of all of the buyers that are here, all the retail stores, they're coming in. Not only are they here at the show at McCormick Place, but they're spending money at the restaurants, they're spending money at hotels. So really the impact it has on the city is citywide, because I'm telling you, I've talked to people, they are staying everywhere across our beautiful city.
And this is both people from all across the country and internationally that come for this. 115 countries?
115 countries. Yeah, 115 countries. And we love having all of them. We do have a global, one of our expos is the global design. And then we have all of the, of course, people, over 1,000 exhibitors from across the country. So everyone's, I mean, this is the place. This is where it all starts. So this is where the brands and products are. And then the buyers and retailers are here going, oh, I love that. And then they're going to say, okay, I think my consumers are going to like that because we love these trends. And this is where it all starts. And that's what makes me so excited about the Inspired Home Show.
And 126 years of Inspired Home Show. How does it evolve? I mean, what?
Isn't that?
It's
amazing.
amazing.
126 shows. So originally it started with 2 shows a year, and now we're doing 1 show a year. But I'm telling you, there is a lot to see at this 1 show. And if you go back for when it started, why didn't it evolve? We all have a favorite story of some kind of houseware item that we had growing up. So I want everyone to think, what's my favorite houseware item? And then you can say, oh, I understand why that show's evolved.
Have you kind of gone throughout the whole floor, and were there some surprises to you?
I mean, there's always surprises. I have to tell you, one of my favorite areas of the whole show is the Pantone Color Expo. So as you walk into the show, there's just all these beautiful colors. And our Pantone color of the year is Cloud Dancer, and that's white. And that's serene, and it's tranquil, and it's beautiful. But as you look through the Pantone colors, you're going to see all these bright palettes and all of these different earthy tones. And for me, it's not, I wouldn't say it's a surprise, but I always love to see where the color trends go every year, because when you look at these beautiful colors, then you can see where they come out on the store shelves in the next couple of months as they start here and they start rolling out to you.
Yeah, we had someone from Pantone on when Cloud Dancer became the official color of the year. And it was pretty cool talking about how they come up with that particular color. For you, how do you make it out there, like out of there, without a whole new home?
I don't know. I mean, you can't. If you ask me how I can actually walk away, I
Yeah.
want everything. This is why this is the best place for me to be, because I get to talk about it all. You can't ask me what my favorite thing is on this set of 8 because I love them all. Thousands of them on the showroom floor, Anita. I want everything. It's all on my Christmas list. I'm not kidding. It's so much fun to discover the products. And again, I say, I walk into the store and I say, who invented this? And why do I need 3?
Why do I need 3? Exactly,
Right?
exactly. I would be in so much trouble there. But since we are going to get people in trouble, again, give us the information for where people need to be, when they need to be there, and how long.
Well, so the Inspired Home Show is a trade-only show, so it's not open to the public, which is why I get to be here telling you about all these cool trends that we are seeing on the showroom floor. Now, this is where you can go to find out more information. Go to our social media at The Inspired Home Show. We're going to have all the trends there. We're going to have all the latest and greatest products there. We're going to be talking to some of the developers and the innovators of these new products that you're going to be seeing. So all of the information is going to be there. And again, that's why this is so cool, because it's happening here. All the masterminds are making it work, and then they're going to bring it to you. And you can get a head start on, I think I really like that clay pot Dutch oven.
I love it. Jane, wonderful speaking with you.
Thanks, Anita. Appreciate being here.
Don't get in too much trouble out there.
I don't know.
Or at least get in so much that you can bring me one of them, you know?
I'll be right over. I'll bring you a whole set. You got it.
Take care.
Bye, Anita.
2:43, everyone. Great speaking with her. She's so much fun. And there are so many great things there. So even if all of the public can't be there, she gave us the information so that we can peep in throughout the show and find out what, you know, the buyers are going to be getting to put in some of the stores where we can then get those items eventually down the line. You can start to peep out some of the trends in the industry and all of those good things. But super cool. And again, huge economic impact here in the city. So we love it for multiple reasons. 2 minutes. It's 2:44 right now. We'll be back. are back at 2:46 right now, and we are getting ready to kick off what will be a week, really, of super fun activities all about St. Patrick's Day next Tuesday. But let's start off here with celebrating 180 years of heritage with the Old St. Patrick's Church. I have Rich Pyczynski, who is the Director of Marketing and Communications at Old St. Patrick's. Thank you so much for joining me.
Thanks for having me on.
Tell me what this time of year, how it feels to you, what it means to you.
Oh, it means so much to not only the staff that works here at Old St. Pat's, but also to our 3,000 households that come together every Sunday and celebrate Mass and other activities. This is kind of our pinnacle moment, if you will, where we have 3 different events coming together to celebrate our Irish heritage and Old St. Pat's 180 years legacy. Kicking off with Shimsa tonight, which is a cultural event that we have at the Chicago Symphony Orchestra. On Saturday, we like to think we kick off the St. Patrick Day festivities for the city by celebrating civic mass. Dignitaries join us and our members and other people of the community. And then we, of course, have a party, and that would be our Shamrockin' party that happens in the afternoon on the campus from 11 to 5. So we like to do Irish celebration right, not only with our faith, but also with different celebrations.
And I'm sure that, people coming out to these events, it also helps support like ongoing things throughout the year.
Absolutely. These are large fundraisers for us to celebrate the different ministries that are part of Old St. Pat's. Everything from our social justice initiatives, where we're very involved in the North Lawndale community, to things that we do with our Encore group, Friends of St. Bridget Society, where we celebrate our faith and St. Bridget. So it's a broad range of activities that get supported through the different fundraising actions that we do this particular week.
I was at the Irish American Heritage Center back in January for an event, and I was trying to read up and down the hallways and get a little education as I was there for just a few hours, but there was so much going on. Tell me about, the Irish heritage and its connection to the city of Chicago.
Yes, absolutely. We were probably at an event possibly with our Friends of St. Bridget Society, so we're glad that you could come, and others joined us for that too. Old St. Pat's has been around for 180 years. 1846 Easter is when we came together as a church. But it was only 10 years later that in 1856 on Christmas Day that the church that sits at the corner of Adams and Des Plaines had our first celebration, our first Mass. And as Father Pat McGrath, who is our pastor, often speaks of, Old St. Pat's has always been, even going back 180 years, the place where our community comes together. And it was a place where people, when they were coming over to America, knew through the church that they could come together of people of their heritage and other heritage, as we, as America, were a melting pot. So we've long carried this tradition. We have over 3,000 households that are part of Old St. Pat's. And we are a very welcoming community. So that's why we welcome people in every Sunday to our Masses. But this year is especially significant for us because we are celebrating 180 years. And this week in particular is a bit of kind of the kickoff of those events.
Are you expecting a lot of former members to come back? Because it is such a special year.
Absolutely. We do expect a lot of people to come back, not only former members, but also people. This is kind of a central point where people kind of kick off and get their Irish on. My last name, Pyczynski, I'm not Irish, but we welcome all ethnic groups to come together and celebrate because St. Patrick's Day is for all. And Old St. Pat's is, as I said, a very welcoming community. And whether you're interested in the arts with Shimsa tonight, you'd like to celebrate Mass with us 8:30 in the morning on Saturday morning, that's a ticketed event, or come down. There's limited tickets available, but we do still have a few left for our party, and everybody loves a good party, especially when it's inside, that there's no lines, and that, as we all know, there's no lines for bathrooms too. So you can bring your children. It's a safe environment. You can have a beer or two. We've got 3 great sponsors: Wintrust, who is so kind to support, Coca-Cola, and then Yingling is our beverage of choice, pouring this year at Old St. Pat's.
When the weekend rolls around, I mean, all of this work that goes into putting all of these things together, but when they start to come to fruition, what goes through your mind when you're seeing people just having a good time, celebrating, and all of those things?
It really speaks to community. And that's, I mean, no matter what you believe, no matter who you are, when we all come together, I think some of those issues and challenges that we're facing today kind of fall away. And we recognize how much we have in common, especially when we can, have our families together and kids play together. You have a beer, corned beef sandwich, a hot dog. I mean, the Shamrockin' event, which is the end, if you will, of Irish Week here at Old St. Pat's, is probably the best example of how we come together. We celebrate our faith together at 8:30. Plumbers Union is involved with this and that. We thank them for their participation. And the dignitaries of Chicago come together, and we then kind of kick off the celebration of the day before we go to the parade and the dyeing of the river. So it's kind of it's a community gathering, and that's kind of at the heart of what Old St. Pat's is, a place where people can come together and celebrate as a united community.
Do you think that there is a misnomer or a misinformation or something along those lines when it comes to St. Patrick's Day?
I think sometimes people think it's only for the Irish, right? And I grew up in a very eclectic kind of community, and I recognize how it really was for all. And whether you were Irish or not, you could wear green, and no one looked at you differently. Even the Polish kid got to participate with his Irish and Italian friends on St. Patrick's Day. So that's why I think Old St. Pat's strip away the Irish heritage, which is kind of a cornerstone for us. But again, I speak about this welcoming community. You see that when you come to Mass or you participate in some of our activities, because we're very much, the word in the Catholic faith is corporal acts, right? And we're out there. You feed the hungry, clothe the naked. And I think we all, as people of God, recognize the need for this, no matter who we are, what we believe. And, whether we're involved with Greater Chicago Food Depository or involved in mentoring and coaching young men and women in North Lawndale, we all come together with a united purpose. And I think that really is the cornerstone of what Old St. Pat's is about, and how we kind of come together, and it kind of breaks down any of those barriers between us.
Amen. Amen. I love that sentiment for sure. Okay, if people want to participate in any of these things, what do they need to do?
Go to Old St. Pat's website. You'll find out information there about the limited tickets that are available still tonight, that you can purchase tickets for the Shimsa Nagal. And Shimsa Nagal, again, it's really wonderful. The Gardner Brothers, 5 times world champion dancers.
Wow.
We have Broadway star Megan McGinnis, Trinity Irish dancers, Irish bands. Leo choir's there, our 80-person choir, telling the story of Old St. Pat's, 180 years. So that's Shimsa Nagal. You can buy tickets for the Shamrockin' event on Saturday. Again, limited tickets available. Bring your kids. It's a family-friendly event, but there's plenty of beverages, adult beverages, to enjoy too, and they can have a good time with our kids' activity area, and all sorts of fun things to do from 11 to 5. Go to our website, purchase tickets for those 2 events.
Rich, I see that Old St. Patrick's is one of the few buildings to survive the Great Chicago Fire of 1871. Why do you think it survived?
I think God smiled upon us, and there were a lot of people pulling for us, saying prayers. The fire got within a couple blocks of this place, and I think it was maybe just a little bit a precursor to what Father Jack Wall then did in the late 80s and early 90s, of opening the doors up when there were only 3 or 4 registered families here, and kind of gave a renewal, not only to the people on the west side of Chicago in the Catholic faith, but to all of Chicago, to welcome people in. And there's been a lot of activities and good done out of Old St. Pat's and other places that we partner with. So whether you come down here for Irish Week events, or you join us on Sunday, we welcome all people to come down to the corner of Des Plaines and Adams, 700 West Adams, on a Sunday, and see what we have to say as we welcome all in.
You're a wonderful representative of Old St. Pat's. Great speaking with you today, Rich.
Thanks. Appreciate the opportunity.
Absolutely. You take care and have fun.
Thank you. Hope to see you.
Everyone's Irish this weekend. Oh, let's have a great time, everyone. It's 2:57, and give us 2 minutes. We'll be back with more. All right, welcome back, everyone. We are now in our final hour here of Chicago Live for this Monday. And there's plenty more conversations to be had. One, we've got to talk about what's going on with our weather outside. It is phenomenal today. So I urge everyone to get out, soak a little bit of the sun up while we have it. I mean, we've had some days with sun over the last few months, but they usually didn't correspond with warm temperatures. Today we have the dynamic duo out there. So make sure you enjoy today. And I'm putting an emphasis on that because things are a-changing, as you would imagine. It is March, so you never can tell what's going to be happening day to day. And so we're going to bring up Mike Kaplan. Yes, Mike Kaplan. Mike Kaplan is working for our chief, Emily, all week. And so Mike Kaplan is going to come up and get us up to date on what we can expect both in the hours hours to come this evening, but then also the days to come this week. As we go into that weekend, we're just talking about all the events that are happening, moving in for St. Patrick's Day. The weather's going to change a lot for that. So what you would wear today, you won't be wearing then. We'll talk about that with Mike coming up a little bit later on in the hour. We're also going to talk about a set of crossword puzzles that's getting a lot of buzz right now from the Sun-Times. They're mini crossword puzzles, and we'll be talking about that shortly. But when we get into March, especially like this week, you start thinking about March Madness. Yes, the basketball tournament. We are so ready for this, whether you do the brackets or you don't. And it's just an exciting time for sports lovers, basketball lovers. I mean, it's just a great time. And so I have Charlie Min here, who is a sportscaster and also a filmmaker. I'm going to be asking him questions about both aspects of his resume. But we're going to start off with March Madness, of course, because that's what time of year we are in. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. So what comes upon you when it comes around to March Madness?
It's one of my favorite tournaments. When you have 65 teams or whatever it is now competing for college basketball's greatest prize. And I think opening weekend, there's nothing like it in sports, where you have so many teams with fresh hopes and they're alive and they're going crazy on Selection Sunday, and then 4 days later their dream could be just dashed just like that. But I live for this time of year. The weather's turning, and March Madness is only the beginning of everything.
Yeah, so much going on right now. And what are your thoughts of where these basketball teams sit right now? I mean, do you think that the rankings will prove to be like the rankings going in will prove to be the rankings at the end, or do you think we're in for some shakeups?
I personally love upsets. Every year you have the number one seeds. This year, obviously, you have the usual suspects in Duke, Arizona, Michigan. But I like looking at teams in the 20 to 25 range, like a St. Mary's, for instance. And I just love the underdog, the Cinderella schools. I just think that's what it's all about, right? Is the underdogs that we root for. College basketball as a whole, I've sort of taken a downturn on it because of, I call it legal corruption with all this money the college athletes are making. The National Corruption Athletic Association. Just take football, for instance. Arch Manning making $7 million a year as a college sophomore. And he's not even that good. I mean, let's get right to the point here. But college basketball has changed a lot over the years. The transfer portal, there's just no sense of community or family or team anymore. The three-point shooting has increased by a lot, just like the NBA. But with that said, I still love March Madness. I love the hope that any one of these 64, 65 schools can possibly run the table.
You're right that everyone wants to be Steph Curry now. So it really does become like a three-point shooting contest a lot of the times. One of the phrases that I use a lot during March Madness is the joy of victory, the agony of defeat. I think that's like what sums up our love of watching it all.
Anything can happen. It's like the NHL playoffs. That's my favorite all-time thing in sports. Also the World Cup in soccer. I still can't believe Chicago is not one of the host cities this year. That drives me crazy. But I would say World Cup, NHL playoffs, and NCAA tournament are my top three favorite things to watch in sports, only because of the emotion. If you're not feeling anything in life in sports, then it just everything just kind of declines. You need emotion, you need a push, and that's what those three sporting events do for me. Is it raises my senses and my emotions.
Absolutely, and connects us to our phone a little bit more. That might be the downside. I find myself for a whole month like, that. So do you think that the portal has really changed the possibility of us seeing Cinderella stories anymore?
I would say it has really impaired college basketball. It's really hurt the fact that now you do not have to sit out 1 year. If you get into an argument with a coach or a teammate, boom, he could just say, I'll see you in less than a year, and I'm going to come back and hurt your team. It just seems so sudden. Again, no loyalty, no community feel, no family. When's the last time a great college basketball player played all 4 years in one school? I mean, you just don't see that anymore.
Yeah.
There's just too much. It's too chaotic, if you ask me. And the three-point shot, I've always said, destroyed basketball, destroyed the NBA. And I would say this whole transfer portal and NIL, and just, again, my opinion, has really hurt the game because they're not college athletes anymore. Let's face it, this is semi-pro. And when you have college kids driving around with Porsches and Maseratis on campus, I mean, what's this world become? It's just too chaotic, if you ask me.
Yeah, no, I remember one of my favorite women players from last year who went into the WNBA was Haley Van Lith, and I remember watching her initially at Louisville, then was it TCU in the end, and I want to say, was she in South Carolina for a minute? No, LSU for a minute too. So I mean, it was like, yeah, there were so many different colleges within those 4, sometimes 5 years that they have eligibility.
I mean, where's the loyalty, right? Where's that community feel? You have a fan who loves this one particular team, and good luck in that athlete who you look up to being there for more than 2 years, let's say. It's so fickle, it's capricious. Again, I would say loyalty. There just is no loyalty anymore. It's all about me, 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 me.
Mm-hmm. And there are frequent jokes with some serious kind of tones to it about maybe there needs to be, and this is at least for football, but maybe there needs to be like a commissioner. What do you think about that?
It's like I call it legal corruption. We need maybe a higher power here to maybe make final rulings on this. It's just gotten out of hand, and I think it just speaks to our world today. Our world today is up for grabs. It's just too chaotic. I think social media in many ways has destroyed the world. It's spread out so much hate and negativity out there. People are getting bullied. People are greatly affected. I don't know what's going on in college basketball, college sports for that matter, and a lot of it is because of NIL. And the transfer portal, in my opinion, has absolutely destroyed loyalty and any kind of community. And again, it's not college sports anymore. Let's face it, this is semi-pro.
Yeah. It has changed it for sure. Has it changed it for good? Do you think we could ever reel anything back? Or is it just a matter of just trying to put some guardrails on it now moving forward?
The way this world is headed, I would say everything is going to get louder, bigger, more aggressive, and whether that's good or bad really depends on the eye of the beholder here. I'm all for being different and outside the box and being groundbreaking and things like that, but I think at some point you need some control over what's going on. But I think what's happening now in college sports really speaks to the world, where everything is just louder, bigger, more aggressive, and I'm afraid it's going in that direction, but in a chaotic way, not so much in a constructive way.
Okay, do you have some teams that you're watching closely going into the tournament? I mean, obviously right now we're getting ready for the Big Ten tournaments this week. Well, like, what teams are you starting to watch that you feel like are clicking just in time?
Well, I've been so busy with my movie that's playing in Chicago now, Who Killed These Women, so I can't say I've been 1,000% up to speed, but I keep an eye on Arizona because I spent a lot of time in Tucson. St. Mary's is sort of a college I've sort of kept an eye on. They may be sort of a team to look out for. But it always seems like your top seeds get upset in the tournament. And Duke and Michigan, I get a feeling that they're going to face reality here, maybe not in the first weekend, but eventually. But look at St. Mary's. I don't know. That's my dark horse pick is St. Mary's. And also University of New Mexico. I used to live in Albuquerque. There's no greater college basketball venue than the Pit in Albuquerque. The Lobos kind of stumbled a little bit at the end, but if they somehow run the table in Las Vegas, you never know about them. But look out for St. Mary's this year.
Okay, so again, I wanted to first and foremost ask you about what's on everyone's mind going into this week of the Big Ten, and then of course next week when we finally find out who's going to be in the tournament and where we go from there for March Madness. But you mentioned the movie that is playing right now. So as I said in the beginning, everyone, he is a filmmaker, Charlie is, and you do have a film about the Lane Bryant murders back from 2008, and it was 18 years. Last month made 18 years, correct?
Correct. It was the anniversary month, and this is one of the largest unsolved mass shootings in modern day America right now. The Lane Bryant massacre in Tinley Park. 5 women were executed, and there's no justice. There hasn't been a single arrest made ever on this case. Tinley Park PD, they don't even have a suspect. All they have is a sketch from a crayon. I mean, come on now, give me a break. I mean, if I'm this angered, I can only wonder what a family member feels who lost a loved one. It's playing right now in Chicago. It's in its 4th week, which is a long time for an independent documentary. I mean, I'm going up against movies like Crime 101, Scream 7. It's playing at AMC New Lenox. It's the only theater that's playing right now, AMC New Lenox. And for more information, people can go on the website, thetinley5.com, and that's the number 5. We're getting leads coming into our website consistently, so maybe this will be cracked at some point. And I do want to thank Fox 32 for having us on quite a few times. Melody, who books guests, has done a great job recognizing the significance and the importance of this news story.
Yeah, it is important, and especially the fact that we still don't have closure for those families yet. It needs to be still top of mind for everyone. It is pretty hard to imagine what they've gone through over these years. For people who are just now maybe catching up on it, do you feel like they're coming out of theaters? What has been the reaction that you've gotten from your documentary?
Pretty good, but anytime you throw yourself out into the public like I do, you're always going to hear it from both sides. Sure. Like I said earlier, social media, I think, was set up for negativity and hate. But in this case, we've seen a lot of people come through the box office for this particular independent film. I want to thank the public for coming out to support this film. There's no way that I would have anticipated this film playing for 4 weeks. So if people come out the next few days at AMC New Lenox, it might get extended for a 5th week. We played it at AMC River East in downtown, AMC Crestwood, Marcus Theaters in Orland Park, also Country Club Hills. We've been everywhere with this film. So hopefully, I think social media will eventually solve this case. Yes, social media can work in your favor, and I believe social media will solve this case and not the Tinley Park PD. I've been very critical of them for not coming up with any results here. Again, 18 years, we haven't had a single arrest made on this case. I know there's a lot of crime in Chicago. There's just too many criminals running around the beautiful city of Chicago. This particular crime, though, really needs extra attention because 5 women were executed and there's no justice.
Yeah, we certainly want their families to get justice whenever it comes, even if it is delayed. That doesn't mean that it can't happen. Thank you so much for what you do on a regular basis, and hopefully it will get extended for more eyes to see what you've worked on.
Thank you so much for having me.
Absolutely. Take care. It's 3:17, everyone. Give us 2 minutes. We'll be back. Welcome back, everyone. It's about 3:20 right now, and with all of the things going on in the world, sometimes it's just good to have a quiet moment, maybe to do a crossword puzzle. And with a mini crossword puzzle, maybe you don't even have to take that much time. It maybe depends. But Ellery Jones is an assistant editor of innovation with the Chicago Sun-Times, joining me now to talk a little bit more about the Chicago mini crossword that's getting some buzz. Thanks for your time.
It's great to be here.
All right, tell me how this came about for these bite-sized versions of the classic puzzle.
Well, we have been experimenting with games for not quite a year now at the Sun-Times. It's a very natural place for a newspaper to be in a digital space, and I personally am a little bit of a mini crossword fan, but I'm not the big puzzler on staff. But when it came to thinking about what is the right thing for Chicagoans, it was really clear that the mini crossword was like a great opportunity to connect with our readers in a new way, and hence we have the slightly hot dog themed Chicago mini crossword, which is what we were doing at the Wiener Circle last week. The short version of the puzzle, it's a 5x5 grid. You'll familiar if you've played the New York Times mini crossword, who really pioneered the format, but we've perfected it by putting mustard and pickles and relish on it, a little bit of celery salt. We've gotten a great response from it so far.
Yeah, tell me a little bit more about that response. When you say great, how has it been?
Well, I would say it's cut the mustard for sure.
Great. I'm giving you applause.
Well, it's been great. We've had I've really spent a lot of time thinking of hot dog puns. And last week we did a great event at the Wiener Circle to do a little bit of promotion for our puzzle, where we offered patrons a free hot dog if they could do the mini crossword under 90 seconds. But we quickly found out that people couldn't do the mini crossword under 90 seconds while I was making fun of them the whole time, so we increased it to 2 minutes. So we gave out a few dozen hot dogs. I was hoping we were going to give out more, but apparently Chicago needs to study up. There was a surprising number of people who could not remember what a hot dog bun was. Well, it may have been that I was like standing right behind them and making fun of them, because it was the Wiener Circle, of course. So
that's all that was going through my mind. Like, it was the appropriate place for all of that.
Well, yeah, we were hoping to roast. We're hoping to roast some of our regular players as well as some hot dogs. Yeah.
You talked about, kind of innovating things or evolving in the digital space. How important is that for newspapers today?
Well, obviously it's very important. We are always looking for new opportunities at Chicago Public Media. So Chicago Public Media is the nonprofit that in 2022 acquired the Chicago Sun-Times. We also are the parent organization of WBZ, Chicago's NPR station, and we are constantly looking at new opportunities to connect with our readers, to develop new relationship and have a little bit of fun too. This has been one of the more fun things that we've been working on, spicy like a sport pepper, versus sometimes we do need a little bit of a break from the serious news. Of course, we are investing in our investigative journalism as well, and the support. All of our work is member supported. We do not receive public funding after the changes to federal funding policy around public media. So we're extremely reliant on the support of small donors. So building fun relationships with people by offering a mini crossword like this is just like a big part of what the future of our organization is.
Mm-hmm. Do you have any other Chicago themes planned?
Well, we also did an event at WBZ led this event at Talia Hall this weekend at Free for All, and so we had a few themed puzzles around we had some themed puzzles around Talia Hall this weekend, but we're always doing different themes with the mini crossword. You can get a new puzzle every day, and if you sign up for our flagship morning edition newsletter, you'll get a reminder of the crossword every day with a puzzle hint. I expect we are thinking about some new puzzles that we are hoping to launch in the next few months, so stay tuned. And of course, please support our work. And if you sign up for the newsletter, you can find out more about the new things that we're launching and get first access to new puzzles that are coming along. We also have a word flower Sudoku, a full crossword puzzle. These ones aren't as Chicago themed yet. But if you are looking for a place to play some free games on a morning commute, I find that the mini crossword is not long enough to kill time while your train is delayed, but it'll get you a little bit closer there. A full crossword, maybe.
Okay, what makes one good at crossword puzzles?
It's very interesting because it's not. A lot of people came into the mini crossword events thinking, they're like, I'm so on top of this, I know everything. But it really requires understanding the wordplay. I think if you're good at puns, you'll be good at the mini crossword. And our crossword writer, Kelsey Dixon, she's contributes to a lot of crosswords to a lot of places, but she has a strong sense of humor. And if you come in understanding that she has a sense of humor and that some of the jokes are not going to be the first things that you think of, that'll really get you far. We had a clue that was for a during the event. There was a clue that was for a NBA player that started Michael and then blank, and everybody immediately said Jordan, of course, but they didn't notice that Jordan didn't fit in the puzzle. And so that I got to have a lot of fun making fun of people for not knowing NBA players, which I definitely do. I of course know who Jordan Poole is.
So who did it end up being?
I think I may have already forgotten who it was. But the solution was Poole, but admittedly I did have to pull out my solutions handbook for that one. But having a broad base of knowledge and a lot of time and a lot of practice, just if you want to get good, you can go to suntimes.com/games and you can start playing the archive and go back in time and get practice and see if you can beat my best time, which right now is 20 seconds, but I'm sure that there are quite a few people who can beat me.
Oh my goodness. And then in making these crossword puzzles, what if you all have had conversations about that, like how do you go about making one?
Yeah, I mean there are obviously there's quite a large community of crossword constructors in the U.S. And one of my colleagues, Sophie Hernandez Simeonitis, did this wonderful story a few months ago from the Midwest Crossword Tournament. Because there is a big group of people who are just super fans of crosswords, because it's a lot of fun to play as well as construct, because you have to think about the wordplay, and you have to make everything align nicely. One of the struggles is and the shapes of the grids and how those black squares work. We use American style puzzles, but there are also different kinds of styles of crossword puzzles. So I'm not the constructor, mercifully, because when I suggested to Kelsey some crossword puzzle clues, she was like, no, this makes zero sense. She's like one of them, but it's quite hard to identify what's something that somebody can reasonably get, but is also a little bit of a challenge and involves some wordplay. I love wordplay, which is kind of why I love the Sun Times mini crossword so much, but it's certainly not my strength. And thank goodness we have Kelsey, who's just fantastic. And I love her references to Chicago. If you play the mini crossword, you'll see every clue that's about Chicago has a hot dog next to it, because obviously hot dogs are the most important thing about Chicago.
Well, I have relished my time in being able to speak with you. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
All right, take care. It's about 3:30, everyone, and one person who I know without a doubt could answer all of their crossword puzzles would be Mike Kaplan, and he just walked into Studio 32, so we're going to bring him in right after this break to talk about our weather and more. .32, and no, it's not Good Day Chicago. It's Chicago Live.
I'm looking at the clock. It says 3:30.
Are
but
you
that's
awake?
PM.
Are you awake?
I'm hanging in there. I am hanging in there. Working for Emily here. She's taking a little pre-maternity time off. I'm loving these Electro Voice RE20 microphones, by the way. I got to get some of these installed at home. Hi, everybody. Can you hear me coming in the beautiful stereo this
You're back to your dark and stormy days.
I got the face for radio, and I've got the voice for it. All right. Hey, everybody. It's Mike and Anita playing the hits, clearing the zits. I got a free tube of Clearasil for caller number 20 on the hotline. No?
Too much,
No?
bad. Too much.
We broke a record high today.
I saw your emails. So what was the record?
The old record, which was only set 5 years ago, was 69 degrees. We blew that thing out of the water. Right now it is 71 degrees. And this is one of those days, this time of year in spring, downtown near the lake, it'd be like 48 degrees. And we show a map. Aurora's 75, Elgin 72. We've got southwest winds, so we've blown those 70s all the way to the lakefront. Everybody enjoying those 70s right now.
Oh, wow.
Except maybe snowplow drivers. They're probably not enjoying
They're
it.
like, wah, 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 my time is coming. But is their time over?
That's the problem. Tomorrow's going to be a transition day, and we're going to have a front coming in from the north, and the exact position of where that front kind of stalls out is going to determine who gets the worst of the storms tomorrow. All of Chicagoland can get severe thunderstorms, large hail, damaging winds, and there is a tornado threat. I think the highest tornado threat is going to be in our far southern counties in our viewing area. You get into Kankakee County, maybe LaSalle County. You're in a worse position than, say, Lake and McHenry counties. But we don't want to let our guard down. I always like saying be weather ready for the storms. Tomorrow would be late afternoon and at night. And on top of all that, we could have flooding rainfall from the storms. That would continue into Wednesday.
Is that because so much is coming down so fast?
And the duration of the whole rain event. We'll get the storms, and then there's going to be kind of a second wave of mainly just rain, maybe a little flash with the splash in there overnight, Tuesday into Wednesday morning. And then cold air comes in on Wednesday afternoon, and there's a chance, you're saying there's a chance, that there could be a few flakes of wet snow mixed in on Wednesday afternoon and evening.
And the
There's that
snowplow
7 day.
drivers are like, oh?
Yeah, but no, keep those babies parked. It won't be cold enough for it to stick. But, tomorrow's going to be a strange day too, Anita, because I put 58 up for the high tomorrow. That's what I'm expecting at O'Hare. That's our official point of record.
Okay.
If you are, let's say you're in Zion or Waukegan, tomorrow afternoon at 3 o'clock, it may be 42 degrees. If you're in Bourbonnais, or if you're watching in Streeter, it could be 75 degrees. That's the difference between being south of the front and north of the front.
That's a huge difference.
It is a huge difference. And then kind of for the rest of the week going into early next week, look at that Monday high temperature.
Well, listen, I'm
It's
one, I
March.
don't want to look at it,
I
but
know.
but two, I'm thinking about all the people that are going to be out this weekend for the parade,
Yes.
for the
yes.
river dyeing, and I'm like, now wait a minute. Are these storms in the afternoon?
Well,
or?
Saturday, I think the daytime hours are going to be dry.
Okay.
So that bodes well for the
Okay.
parade.
All right.
I think we'll get some rain at night, and then on Sunday with falling temperatures, there can be a little bit of rain mixing with snow.
I think the South Side parade is on Sunday.
They are used to having worse
They
weather.
are.
It's
We
almost
talked to them
always
and they
the
were like,
case.
we hope it's better this year.
Oh, I'm sorry, Southsiders. I'm sorry, Southsiders. But it'll be fun for you. And, I hear like music playing in my ear.
Do
I'm not
you?
sure what's going on.
I don't know either, but you're closer to the window.
Maybe
Maybe
that's
what's
what I'm
happening,
hearing. But what I have discovered is that for a lot of the St. Patrick's parades, it doesn't really matter what the temperatures are. There's like a lot of internal antifreeze going in, and that tends to make people
warm
happy.
themselves up.
Right, regardless of what the weather might be.
Oh my goodness. Oh goodness. So let's see. By next week, when we saw that 32, by next week, we're actually looking at the official start to spring.
Astronomical spring will start. Yes, we're in meteorological spring right now. And then that sun is going to be directly over the equator. That marks the vernal equinox. We'll have our equal days, equal nights. How are you handling the time change?
You know what?
Because I'm completely screwed up with this working the night shift.
Well,
It
see,
hasn't
I
mattered.
was working a different shift last week, and that's exactly what I was going to say. I think because I worked a bunch of different shifts in the last few days, that I'm just kind of all over the place anyway. My head is. So I don't know that it bothered me that much, but I'll tell you that this morning I was just kind of like,
Not handling it so well.
I just needed a minute this morning. Like,
well, I'd say it is nice that it's still light. It's about 7 o'clock now,
right.
so I like that part. But I think about the kids going to school early in the morning, and it's gotten dark again.
dark.
It's tough for them.
Yeah.
But it's it comes around in the next few weeks. Sun will be coming up before 6 a.m. again. Sun will be setting at 8 o'clock. It'll be 80 degrees. Maybe. Hey, it's nice outside right now.
we'll have a baseball starting up too.
Oh, I know.
know?
I can't wait. And we've had several days where we had games scheduled here in Chicago. They could have played today. I mean, today's golden.
Yeah.
They would, give anything for a day like this at home.
And that's always the thing that first game, you just never know whether you're going to need a coat or whether you're going to be in shorts.
Exactly, and that is just it's Chicago, and they keep pushing up the start date of the season now. It's
Which
in
makes
March,
it even more
in
unpredictable.
late March, are you kidding? I know, yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so we're going to see you this evening.
We're going on late
okay.
because we have the baseball, World Baseball Classic is going on. So I think we're playing Mexico. We're covering that on a Fox 32.
God said if Mike Kaplan is working nights, I'm making him work nights.
Yeah, and so we've got a late start then, and tomorrow we'll be hanging on late probably because the storm's in the area. Can I please have a box of toothpicks to prop open my eyelids at that point? But so we've got the baseball coming on here tonight, and I will be working as late as I can possibly stay up the next couple of nights. I'm hoping for some quiet weather
Give him some
on
grace.
Wednesday and Thursday, some normal time, and then I'll have 3 days off.
Okay.
That will be nice.
All right. I'm sure you're looking forward to all of that. We appreciate you coming up here to get
Thanks
us
for
up to
having
date.
me.
Yeah.
Thanks for, do I get to keep the microphone? Take it home with me?
Unfortunately
It's a nice
not,
setup
but
here.
you can come right back up here and sit in the same seat and use it tomorrow. How
Tomorrow,
about that?
same time, same bat channel. See you tomorrow.
We'll see you then. We'll see you at 4 o'clock.
I'll be
really?
there.
Yeah. Okay. All right. He's going to go back downstairs to get ready for the 4 o'clock. Give us 2 minutes and we'll be right back. All right, welcome back, everyone. Just about 3:45 right now. We're going to take a look at what happened on the stock market today. Look at that. I mean, what a turnaround. Was not expecting to see this for the bulk of the day because we were in the red for almost all day. And things actually made a turnaround by the end of the day. So let's talk about what I'm seeing behind the numbers here. So as you can see, the Dow Jones closed up to almost 240 points. S&P 500 also made a comeback here from some earlier losses today. Let's see, the NASDAQ jumped 1.38% and settled at 22,695 or so, almost 96 there. So this appears to be on the heels of President Trump saying that the war against Iran could be reaching its end. That's a big statement. He says that they have no Navy, no communications, they've got no Air Force, and he says the U.S. is very far ahead of his initially stated time frame for the war of 4 to 5 weeks here. So he says that the war is very complete, very much, very complete, pretty much is what he said on his social media site. So very interesting. Of course, the bulk of the day, what was driving prices or what the numbers down was oil prices jumping so high. After the Middle East producers slashed their output here, and of course, the Strait of Hormuz, where about 20% of the oil goes through, they have been able only to get like 1 or 2 ships through, as opposed to some 40 a day, something like that. So it's been a drastic difference. Prices have skyrocketed. The $100 oil level was seen by many on Wall Street apparently as a breaking point for the economy unless the war is resolved quickly and prices retreat. So again, the president says the war is coming to an end. We will see what that time frame actually looks like. Of course, Iran did appoint a new leader. That leader is the son of the Ayatollah who was killed at the beginning of these strikes. So what the time frame is for an end to this war has not been dictated, but I'm sure is anticipated by many. It is 3:45 right now, so give us 2 minutes, everyone, and we will be right back. Okay, welcome back, everyone. It's about 3:48 right now, so it's time for our final conversation here on Chicago Live for the day, and that's going to be with the mayor of Des Plaines, and that is Andrew Gachkowski. Thank you so much for your time.
Well, thank you so much for having me.
Absolutely. And so we're talking about a major construction project. In fact, the county's largest ever transportation project to the tune of $100 million for Touhy Avenue. Tell me about it.
Well, we are so excited to have this investment in our community. It's going to be a bridge that will drive over the train tracks that run through our community and the new Western Access Highway that's going to provide access into O'Hare Airport. So this is going to provide some safety, and it's going to reduce the commute of many residents and businesses throughout the area.
Tell me the issues that people have, given to you over time for this to be taking place.
Sure. So, Des Plaines is located right north of O'Hare Airport. We have more per capita at-grade rail crossings than any city in the state. And so we are flush with transportation options. But that means that we have residents all the time who are dealing with real congestion from freight traffic, congestion from passenger traffic, congestion from all sorts of things that have to do with our location in the Chicagoland area. And this gives an option where it alleviates some of the downsides of having so many freight lines in the area.
$100 million. How are you making that happen?
Well, I can't take too much credit. You know, Cook County is working closely with the Illinois Department of Transportation, and I know that President Preckwinkle has been pushing this project for a long time. So we are largely a beneficiary of the project as opposed to someone who's financing it, but we're happy to be a partner, and we're looking forward to seeing some great improvements in the year or two ahead.
And so a year or two, that's kind of the timeline for this?
Yeah, I think 2027 is when they're planning on being finished. I know that the Western Access Project in general is something that's many years in the making, but we're hopefully going to see some real progress in the next year when it comes to actual shovels in the ground.
And how do you think, looking forward once it's done, how do you see it like transforming the area?
Well, I think that we're going to see even more investment of businesses that service O'Hare Airport and surrounding areas. You know, we are already so well positioned, but allowing reliable, safe, fast transportation to and from this area will make it even more desirable. So we're looking forward to more investment, whether it's warehouse use, industrial use, in addition to all of the commercial use throughout the city. But this particular intersection is right up on O'Hare, and so we're looking at really enhancing that corridor.
There's a lot of construction that's happening on the west side over here. Do you know what that is and how that kind of factors into, again, the future of what the area looks like?
I think a lot of that has to do with this Western Access idea that they've been working on for many, many years. So they're hoping to connect the western suburbs so you don't have to come around and enter through the other sides of the airport. And I think that will open up a lot of avenues. Now, we're close to O'Hare, so we benefit from the current access. But, having less at-grade rail crossings, having a way to go over the new Western Access will be a game changer. We're really excited.
How does it feel to see investment into your part of Cook County?
I think it's great. I think that when people think of Cook County, they think of Chicago. But under the current leadership, we've definitely seen some real investment from the county leadership, and we feel like we're part of the greater team. So we're happy to have it, and we're happy to be a partner, and we look forward to more to come in the future.
Yeah. And when we think about construction, obviously the end goal is always better days. But getting there is usually full of complaints. So what maybe warnings do you want to give people for like when this is going to begin, what it might be like in the near term before we get to like the promised land?
So I do think there's going to be some traffic interruption. I know that they're working on how they're going to do it, because they're actually going to be straightening one of the roads that's currently a little bit non-straight in its current structure. So there's going to be single lane in each direction, I believe. We will make sure that we get that information out on city social media, in our newsletters, in the videos that I do, and everything else. But as you said, we're looking for the end goal here, and what we're going to have at the end is much better than what we have today. So we just need to muscle through and get to that final result.
Are there some other areas that you all are working on right now as well?
Yeah, there's a bridge over Rand Road that is, I think it's 100 years old, and so that's going to be replaced this year as well on the other side of the city, the north side of the city. And we're working on looking at some other at-grade crossings that we can take out as well. Again, Des Plaines has so many rail crossings that we're trying to find ways to facilitate emergency vehicles to be able to reach people in need, to make sure that people are not waiting for these trains all day long. So we're looking at doing an additional rail crossing on Algonquin Road in the years ahead that we're going to be funding as a city with some grant dollars. Things are looking up. We're investing for the future, and we're looking forward to the final result.
When you think of investing for the future, if maybe someone doesn't live in Des Plaines right now, like what makes Des Plaines special?
Des Plaines is an amazing community. As someone who was brought up in the community, we're extremely diverse. We are right on the Metro Northwest line, which is going to be connected to the new Bears Stadium, hopefully. We have a great, charming downtown. I encourage you to come on down. We have the Des Plaines Theater in our downtown. We have some amazing restaurants. We have Foxtail on the Lake, which is something that I'm sure that you've all heard of. And we have many more restaurants that are in the process of opening up. So if you're looking for somewhere to spend an evening, give Des Plaines a try. We're right next to Mount Prospect and Arlington Heights and all the rest, and we're definitely worth a look.
Okay, now you've opened up a can of worms with those comments. So I have to ask you, have you been a part of the regional body that's starting to form to try to get the Bears to Arlington Heights, because it might help Des Plaines too?
Absolutely. When people ask us about the stadium coming to Arlington Heights, we are all for it. We're only 2 stations down the line or up the line, and we would see some real benefit from that. So I certainly hope that the McCaskey family and the leadership of the Bears end up in Arlington Heights. Right here, there are McCaskey family members that live in Des Plaines. I know that they love this area, and I look forward to them investing here and opening up in Arlington, for sure.
When you see the possibility of them going to Indiana, did that kind of change your perspective on, hey, let me get behind Arlington Heights, because it's not going to be Chicago, but let me get behind Arlington Heights?
I'll admit, we've been behind Arlington Heights since early on because we've seen the benefits. So we were an early cheerleader, and I continue to be, and I think that we're going to see them end up there in the end.
Okay. All right, Mayor. Wonderful speaking with you. We might have to circle back when the Bears make their decision, especially if it's going to be Arlington Heights.
Well, thank you for having me.
All right. Thank you for being here. We certainly appreciate it. That ends up being the conversation so often. Like we're talking about so many other things, but then it comes back to where are the Bears going to be in the future? So many other big topics, but where are the Bears going to be in the future? We shall see. We are all still waiting, and we are all still in wait and see mode. Well, listen, we're not going to make you wait too long. Give us 2 minutes, and we'll be back to close out the show. Okay, welcome back, everyone. There's plenty to get to in the 4 o'clock news with Terrence Lee and Sylvia Perez. They are following several big developments. There was a home invasion in Winnetka earlier this morning. They'll be having some more information on that. We have a reporter on that, but we also have some breaking news that we have been following throughout the last hour or so, and we just got information in from the Oak Park, from Illinois State Police about a situation in Oak Park, that troopers are on the scene of an expressway shooting on I-290 eastbound right now at Austin Avenue. So eastbound traffic is being diverted onto Harlem Avenue. The Harlem Avenue ramp is currently shut down for canvassing in that area. It's an area you'll want to avoid, but they're going to give you much more information on what's going on coming up next at 4. I'll see you back here tomorrow at 1.
from Chicago, this is Fox 32 News at 4.
All right, good afternoon. We want to go right to the president. He is addressing the nation. Let's listen in and see what he's talking about.
Many bad things. They were really, if you look at Soleimani, who was taken out, as you know that, but you know who. But if you look at Soleimani, the father of the roadside, you call it a roadside bomb because most people don't understand the different terms. It was where they plant bombs in roads as you drive by, happily drive by, the bomb